Look at a plant. It seems quiet, still, doesn't do much. We know they grow towards the sun, but we think they do it all in silence. A world of green is a world without sound. What if that idea is completely wrong? What if the ground beneath our feet is filled with information and plants can actually hear it? This is the idea of phonotropism. This is a new and surprising new research that actually states that plants can not only hear, but they can also grow towards the sound. There are a set of experiments that we're going to discuss today about. I think they will change the way you think about plants forever. Our story begins in 2012 with a scientist named Monica Gagliano. She was studying corn seedlings, to be precise, Zea maize, and she was studying the roots of the seedlings and not the leaves. What she was doing was she took a laser vibrometer, and this is a device that can actually hear tiny movements. It's really precise, and she was using this device to measure or to hear if the roots were making any noises or sounds. And she realized that the roots were actually making sounds. They were making a regular, soft, clicking sounds, something like this. It's already surprising that plant roots actually make sounds or noises, but she went one step further, and this was her real discovery. She recorded these sounds, and these sounds were exactly or somewhere around 220 hertz. She then played these sounds back to the corn seedlings. And there was a very surprising event that happened. These corn seedling roots started to grow towards the speaker that was actually playing the sound. You might ask, but why? Why would a root want to first of all hear sounds? Second question is, why would it waste resources growing towards the sound? The fact or the reason, it turns out, for a root, the most important resource on earth is water. Fast forward to 2017, and Gagliano was looking for real proof. She wanted to understand if plants can really hear the sound of water. Think about it. Humans and animals, we have hair cells, so we can hear. But plants don't have hair cells, that too in their roots. But the question still remains: how do plants actually get attracted towards water or moisture? Over long distances, it's really hard to detect moisture. But if there's a dripping pipe or some kind of water rushing through, it makes sound, and sound travels through the ground much more effectively. So what she did was she created an experiment with using an inverted Y-shaped maize, and she planted a pea seedling on the top. I'm going to put an image up there. And towards the left, it was complete silence. And towards the right, there is a pipe running with water. So this running water creates sound. And what the pea seedlings did was they had to make a choice. Will I grow towards the left side, where it's absolute silence, there's nothing there, just air, or do I grow towards the sound? And the results were amazing. A majority of the pea seeds started to grow towards the sound. Does that mean that plants can actually hear the sound of water? To make sure it's not magnetic, it's not due to magnetic fields, Gagliano replaced the pipe with the running water with a speaker, which was playing the sound of running water. And she repeated the experiment. And this time, the results were exactly the same. So the plants started to grow towards the speaker, which was playing sound of running water. Amazing, right? What if they were just growing towards sound? We also have to test for that. And what she did was she then played white noise. And the plants were completely confused. They grew in all directions, which means that plants can distinguish between white noise and the sound of water. That's a really cool finding right there. She went one step further. What she did was she replaced one side of the maze. So you have two sides. She put one side of the maze with wet soil. And on the other side, she kept the same setup. The speaker playing the sound of running water. And she repeated the experiment. But this time, the pea seedlings grew towards the moisture. This is a really interesting topic. It's called sensory priority. Which sense do you prioritize? Touch or hearing? And in this case, the pea plants prioritized the sense. So if they can sense moisture, they will ignore the sound of water. They use sound as a long distance radar. When they can't find or can't feel moisture, they use sound to decide from which direction there is water and grow towards it. But once they find moisture and they can feel it, then they ignore the sound. The final experiment that Gagliano did was she mixed the sound of water with random background noise, basically sound pollution. And this time, the plant roots lost the signal of water and they grew in random directions. And this is sad to hear because we understand that sound pollution affects birds and whales, but we might be actually making it harder for trees to find water. But finally, I would also want to point out that we don't know exactly how plants hear. Unlike humans, we know that they don't have hair cells, but there's some really convincing research that says that they might have mechanoreceptors. And when these mechanoreceptors can't feel pressure, and sound is basically pressure. So when there's a certain frequency, these mechanoreceptors tend to open up the cell wall and there would be an increase in calcium ions. And there's some research that says that the root tends to grow towards this increase. The root grows towards this increase in calcium ions, and that's how they know the direction where the sound is coming from. But all of this is ongoing research. If I would want you to take away one point from this video, is that next time you hear a dripping tap or the rush of water in a pipe, just remember there's someone from the outside also listening to that sound. Thanks a lot for watching the video. I would be including all the research in the description below. Please do subscribe. Helps a lot.